Hello, ladies. Welcome back to Sports and Mimosas. I always say sports and mimosa, but it is mimosas because we have more than one mimosa. But welcome back. We're back for another week and we got some exciting stuff to talk about. Meredith, how are you doing?
Doing well. Like I mentioned, I don't know what day it is, but
Right. It's
doing
Wednesday.
well. And it has been a very eventful couple of days in sports. So
It
can't wait
has.
to talk about that.
Yes, it has. One of the biggest ones is yesterday was the first day of the WNBA. I was traveling for work, so I didn't get to watch any of the games. And then today was busy because today the Angel Reese in Chicago played. But yesterday, season opener, Caitlin Clark had her first game. And it wasn't what it wasn't Indiana. I mean, it wasn't Iowa
Yeah,
for her, where she
it
went to
wasn't,
college.
but it was, I think, the biggest, like most attended game,
Yeah, I think
some
they
kind
were
of
sold out.
attendance record. So she is still hitting those records. And I think that, I'm all like I don't want to say I'm glad that this is happening because that's not what it is, but like I think I almost think it's better for her that this is happening this way because I think so many people I don't think she puts herself on the pedestal. I don't think she ever did that.
Yeah,
I think she
no.
was just out there to play and she really did want that ring. And so for her to go number one and everyone's like I can't even imagine what the pressure is of like, hey, these tickets are going sold out. People are already requesting bigger arenas for when she plays Angel, like all these things. And she goes out there and like you have to remember, like, what is she? 22? Like 20, like
Yeah, because
she is playing against these women, like
who have been playing at the
women
highest level.
who have been playing this for a
Yeah.
very long time. That like, of course she's gonna have, I really applaud her for never acting like she was gonna go out there and like beat some people. Like she's always been handling herself with such grace about like talking
Yeah.
baby, but like
It's
she
the
was just
media
always.
that has really hyped
So
her
I think she
more.
even had a moment yesterday where she was like, I'm gonna need y'all to have patience because like I'm learning something new. Like this is
Right.
a different game. And I think that, she was surrounded by good teammates and whatnot. So I think, I don't know, it was kind of like not good to watch, but like she handled it so well. And I think it kind of just reminds people like she's human, she's 20, like this is her
Right.
first game.
Well, and they
And then yeah.
lost, and I think a lot of people who are new to the game, um, were expecting like, is she gonna just have them winning every single game? Like that's not gonna happen either because there are other girls on the team, other women on the team, and then who's to know how much better the other team is.
Like it's
Um,
just like any other, and I think
so we
the
can't be
fact,
like, oh, they lost and we were expecting because Caitlyn came in like she's
well,
Jesus or
it's
something and
just
was
like
gonna
any other
win.
sport. For those of you who don't know, it's just like any other sport that like the NBA, the Spurs got the number one pick with Wemby, but
Mhm.
like they're still getting adjusted. The NFL draft, who did they get last year? Was it Bryce? And he went to Carolina, and it was
But in the
like
NFL,
so I feel
they're
like the
always the
number one
worst
pick
team.
is always kind of like,
Yeah.
or I think they look at how that person's going to handle it, and it's like they're learning bigger playbooks. They're learning bigger things.
Yeah.
Like,
But
so
it's
I think
also
that,
who you're surrounded by. Like you
yeah,
are joining a new team. For the NFL, too, the first pick is usually the worst team the previous season. NBA, there's a lottery. I think you're pretty down there. Like you're not the champions that is getting the first pick. So you really didn't have the best season either. And I'm not sure how the WNBA works with, the pick, but like if it's the worst team, but I'm sure it goes to like the bottom teams. The aces weren't going to get the first pick because they were
yeah.
champions. So you
Mhm.
always are coming into the league starting off like y'all
With
aren't
like
the
adversity,
best.
you're
Yeah,
gonna
so
have
you're
some
not going to
adversity.
win. And then I was talking with someone and we were talking about one looking at the conference that Caitlin was playing in when she was in college and the competition, it may not have been the toughest competition, She obviously could not beat all SEC, which SEC is known to be the best conference, even though I
Okay.
hate that, in
I
a
was
lot
like,
of
what was that again?
sports.
What was
Yeah.
that?
They are the toughest. Like, she couldn't beat the year before, LSU. She beat us in the Elite Eight, but then she couldn't get past South Carolina. So, like, she's not undefeated amongst SEC
Yeah.
teams. So, like, now you're playing on a team where there's girls from all different women from all different conferences, playing levels, and then vets that have been playing at this level. So it's like something new. But people are like, she had a bad game because she had 10 turnovers. But then, like, looking right now, she had 20 points. Like, she wasn't going to hit
Yeah.
everything. There are girls, and this was, sorry, I don't want to say girls, women that are bigger than those in college too. So you're gonna have you have taller
Well, I think
girl.
that they were talking about something with, and this is before she had officially made the cut, that she was used to like everyone just letting her do her thing at the well past the five, like the 3-point line. And I think like she would not like stall isn't the right word, but she would like take her time. And it was kind of like, you can't,
You can't
that's not how
yeah,
this is going to work here. And like
yeah,
these women can block your shot and these women can do this. So I think, again, we talked about this last week. I think it's great that so many eyes are on it. It's the most viewed WNBA game in history or like in records. So
yeah,
I think, and then, I mean, again, I liked that a lot of them were like, I saw it on my feed more, like the pregame outfits and I'm all about fashion. So I think that, you know, I was paying attention, like their eyes are on them. So I'm really excited. And I really liked how many people, we kind of talked about this on the last show, that just because they were on the team doesn't mean they made the cut. And a
yeah,
lot of first rounders made the cut this year. And I thought that that was kind of really, because again, last year I didn't know hardly any of them. And then the person that
right.
I knew didn't make it. So it was kind of cool to see how many of the women who were like, it's kind of like nice that they could walk the walk and talk the like how
Yeah,
it
definitely.
wasn't just, again, they're here to stay kind of situation.
Right. And then tonight the Chicago played Dallas. So that was Angel Reese made her debut. Um and they lost as well, but she had 12 points, 8 rebounds, I think was her final. So I think that was still a pretty good game. And I think they sold out their tickets too, like their um home opener. So what you were saying is like these arenas are selling out for these games when like in the last couple of years, well, I don't
Mhm.
even know ever. No, yes, one of them said ever, because I don't know if anyone has sold out. But I think for Indiana, it was like they've never sold out their arena, or it might have been Chicago, one of those two. So it's like now they're selling them out. Like that's just so amazing because the
Did you see
more
the
we
thing
get, the more
about
they're gonna get.
it
I
was
mean,
like
the
a
more we
viral
give.
tweet that went around when all of this was happening, like, because and not to get off on a tangent, but like a couple of years ago, the college, like we couldn't call it March Madness for the women's. Like, do you remember that? And like the
Mm-mm.
yeah, like they couldn't get March Madness trademarked or something. They had terrible weight rooms, like
Now I did see that, yeah.
comparison of stuff, like, and now like what it was this year and all these things. There was this viral tweet that was like, oh, like how embarrassing that they didn't get behind this. Like you missed out on billions of dollars because you didn't want to do like because of misogyny kind of situation. So it kind of is just cool to watch. So,
Yeah.
but no, the good WNBA week. And what
Yeah,
else did
I
we do?
downloaded the app. I think I'm going to, not I think I am going to get the league pass so that I can see more of the games.
Uh,
I think it's only 34.99 for the year. So I encourage everyone to get that to watch some games because again, the more we give and show the interest, the more that they'll be able to get and provide. They'll get to that level of the NBA because they're showing that people are watching. I mean, we got them the charter. Well, we didn't get them the charter, but they're getting charter planes for the teams.
And then they're also expanding because they just
Yeah,
announced that there's going to be a new team called is it Los Angeles Valkyrie? Is that what it is? What are they?
San Francisco.
San
It's up
Francisco.
north. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, it's one of the
I think it's
California.
San Francisco or Bay Area, if they're calling it Bay Area, but there and then Toronto's getting one for
Yep.
2026, but they're even getting one, so it's
Yeah.
just gonna get, bigger and
Expanding.
bigger. So get
You
in
get
line now,
excited.
like join
Yeah.
or jump on now,
Funding.
um, and start watching. But yeah, you can get that league pass, get the download the app is free and you can, follow along with the games. You won't be able to see it, but you can at least still follow along. And all of that, but just showing that support for them. Sticking with basketball still, we're still in within the NBA, we're still heavy in playoffs. Um, Last week when we were filming, we filmed on a Thursday. Meredith was you were watching Boston was playing, right?
I think Boston was playing last time. And now
Yeah, like
Boston just
during and
clinched the East, they're going to the Eastern Conference. And then Mavs are playing right now. So my teams are still in it, still
yeah.
making me
So
wait.
Boston beat 4-1 the series, so you have to win the best of
They were the Cavs, right? They were playing the Cavs.
yeah, they're playing the Cavs, so you have to get 4 games to win to advance. Boston did that first. Then Dallas and Oklahoma are on the west, and then Minnesota and Denver are on the west.
That's been wild because
Yeah,
yeah, like, and that's what I think about this sport
that's
is
been
that
good.
like Celtics were the only ones to really kind of not blow it out the water because even they've had messy performances, but they've been doing like again a 4-1, whereas the Suns, I mean not the Suns, Denver and the Memphis, yeah, not Memphis, that's Grizzlies. Who are the Minnesota? Sorry, I was like, wait, no,
Too
like
many.
all the M's, all the things. But like they've been like neck and neck, like 1-1-2-1, like all the things. So, and same with the Mavs. So it's just like it's going to be that kind of series, which is just exhausting. Like I kind of think about this is always the time of year where I'm just like they have to do this. I mean, they have kind of decent breaks, but like there's that viral me video of like Luca just hitting the court and like you just had to get back up. Like I'm like I think they asked him too. They're like, "What's hurting?" And he's like, "Everything." So, but this is where I wake up to see who has failed me and who has done well. But I really don't want them to face each other. I really hope they don't have to face each other. But because I don't know who I would choose. Because both I want Tatum and Luca to finally get a ring. So wait, what do you think about Bronny qualifying for the draft?
I think that's good for him. I don't want to like wish anything bad, but
But is he ready? Like this is where
I
I'm
don't think that's
thinking,
what we were saying last. I don't think
yeah.
that he is ready, but I mean, well, we'll find out because he's gonna do I don't know if they call it a combine like the NFL. He's gonna work out with other prospects for NBA teams. I guess that will allow them to see if there's any interest off of what those teams see, if any of the interests are any of the teams are like, oh yeah, we would consider taking you in the draft. So see how he does with that workout, but he did clear um the medical test as far as the heart issues that he had, that yes, he can go into the NBA because of the medical reason. I don't think he's ready, but I mean, that's good for him to
I don't
get the
know. The truth is, like,
opportunity,
I think he's
but
gonna get him so for the publicity. Like, I don't know. Not that
I don't
like
know if he was my son and okay, so if I was LeBron and he was my son, or maybe I should say if I was Savannah, I don't know if I would want him to go out, but I could get why
I
LeBron
get
wants
the
him
story
to.
again, we're all about stories. Like I get
Right.
the story, but at the same time, I'm like, is this
But I
worth
think
the
if he had
story?
a
Like,
great year his freshman year, it would be different.
yeah. That's exactly like, yeah. That's kind
Like,
of
I don't know if I would tell my son because I'd be like, "You're not ready, and like, do you want to be a bust in the NBA?" Like,
that's how I feel.
or like, let's get ready because there is no rush, and then you can come. But I mean, I know you want to play with me, so then that makes LeBron just like keep
Yeah.
taking your super greens or something so that you can play a whole nother year as you're getting
Agreed.
older.
Yeah.
Not to say that he can't, because we don't know if LeBron is not gonna, if he's gonna retire or not. And like I said, like we said last time, um, his agent said that he has probably about 5 years physically to be able to play, like with his body. But as a Laker fan, I don't know about that because of what I saw. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to see him come out just because I'm like, you didn't have a good freshman year, and it's like, I don't
Like,
know.
that's
And
how I feel like it wasn't like he was, and I don't like this person at all, but, like, I remember the chatter around Ben Simmons.
mhm.
Like, I remember that. Like,
But then he was like not what everyone was.
yeah, he was a bust in NBA, but, like, I remember
Yeah.
he had a good, like, record with LSU that, like,
He at
we
least
knew
had a
that he
better
was the one
season
to watch it,
coming.
what I mean? So that he played 1 year and then left. That I think, again, if Bronny would have had a season like that, it'd been like, "Oh, okay," but he didn't, and it's like,
Right.
mm,
Well, and even before the talks, I didn't watch them play high school or follow, like, I don't follow high school basketball to know, like, oh, these are the recruits coming up. But before Bronny, like, started his freshman year, people were saying that the younger one, Bryce, was even better than Bronny. So then it's like, if you're not even the best out of that, and then you didn't even get to develop your skills or really show us on the
I'm like,
college level, just I take it like, so okay, they don't come out, NBA players cannot come out of high school and go straight into the pros anymore. They did that, but I don't even know how many, like, that would be something I would want to see. How many actually did? I know Kobe and LeBron did, like, during my time. Like, that's the ones I remember. But still, a lot of the ones that were like superstars during LeBron and Kobe's went to college for at least a year. So
mhm,
they got that college level. And kind of like what we were talking about with Caitlin, I think you need that stair stepper, like, let me play on the college level because that's going to be tougher than the high school level.
mhm,
And you develop a little bit more. And if you have a great coach on the college level, like, I feel like if you go to South Carolina, if you come to LSU, like, those coaches, like, are probably preparing you more than what
yeah,
you got in high school that you can handle when you
right.
go
That
to
you feel like you
you
have,
pros. Yeah. And so, like, I feel like players should, and I think that was smart that the NBA did say, like, you need to go to college for at least a year, um, to get that level. So, saying all that to say, I don't think Bronny got that full college year because I don't, maybe not got a lot of didn't get a lot of minutes. He had that issue that,
yeah,
probably stalled his prep going into the season
yeah,
because he had to, work on that. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes out from. I don't know when I think it was this week or next week when where the players get to work out for the teams.
mhm.
That go east, I think. I don't know if it was Chicago, uh, to like kind of work out for each of the teams. So we'll see. But I think that'd be interesting come June when the draft happens, if he does get picked up and who does. And again, if the Lakers do, I am going to be very, very upset. 'Cause I think there's
Like, a part
better
of me just
players.
think that it's all gonna be, like, a whole, like, media thing, but that's just me. So,
Yeah, because they're gonna try to make this storyline. I don't think, again, the men's basketball college didn't have a lot of storylines, I felt, or didn't seem as exciting as the WNBA. So maybe they're like, there's not any exciting things coming out for this draft.
right.
So like, oh, Bronny, you're the biggest thing that we can talk about from what I see. So we'll
Yeah.
see. Um, so baseball, what's happening in baseball? We get to go to a baseball game soon. We're gonna go to a Yankees game.
Oh, right on.
So I'm pretty excited about that. We have been to the Yankee Stadium, but still excited. But what's been going on in the baseball
Yeah.
world?
I really want to go. The number one pick, Paul Skeens,
Yes, from
got called up
LSU.
to
That
the
was a big thing.
majors. Yeah, he was in AAA, just kind of like which is standard for a lot of people who enter the draft. They go and then he got the call, so he got to pitch. He pitched. He struck out 7 batters. I think including the first one he faced, he struck them out. A couple of them were over 100 miles an hour. So as a just again, last year's baseball team was just so special for LSU. So to see him go there and have such a good game and do really
Yeah.
well. I know I told my friend Rachel, I was like, I feel like we should just go to Pittsburgh for a weekend just to say that we saw him. I haven't been to that
Yeah.
stadium, so we were like, we need to study the lineup because there's normally like so many days um of like when they can go in. So we're like, okay,
Yeah.
just watch them. And if you
Yeah,
fall
you
into
got to
the
pick the
weekend, we
right
can
game.
go. And so, but no, that was really good. I'm really excited about that. As an Astros fan, this has just been a very difficult year. We have not started off very strong. However, yesterday to add to because we've been winning and we haven't been winning against great teams, but a win's a win. However, one of our pitchers were caught with a sticky substance on the glove, so he has been punished, I think, 10 games. And which really sucks because it was Blanco who was responsible for a no-hitter in like the first week of the season, which is very unheard of. He was only on the roster because Verlander was hurt. Justin
Yeah.
Verlander, our ace, was still recovering, so they had to like throw him in to just make up some space. So the fact that he got there, threw a no hitter, it was a beautiful, great
And
story.
then what's a no-hitter again for those that are still learning? No batter got a hit off of any of his pitches in
So like,
seven,
even though they could
nine
hit it
innings.
they could hit it, but like they don't make it to the base.
Score.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so
It
it was just
becomes
really cool
automatically
to
out.
see because however, it's really crummy. However, I don't think that taints the no hitter because I think, and again, I don't know the umps personally, but I would think if a guy is on the roll, because again, there's 9 innings. If you're no hitting all of them, there's no way the umpire is not checking to see if you have some kind of substance on your hat or on your gloves. So, like, for a lot of, I'm gonna have like a little history lesson. So, a couple of years ago, it's kind of been like known. This is why I'm very passionate about how everyone talks about the Astros cheating when there are different ways that everyone could be cheating. And one of the things, I don't know what it's called, but basically there's like pitchers can use sticky substances
Mm-hmm.
and they put it in conspicuous places. It can be on your, like, I think one guy was suspected of having it on his wrist and saying it was dirt. Again, Blanco had it on his glove. I know some people, there's footage of one pitcher, I can't think of who, had it on his hat and like disguised it as like a way to like, it was because if baseball is such an interesting sport because everyone has like their rhythms of like when they step up to the plate, they like do their gloves and like all this, like everyone has their thing. And the pitcher disguised it as like what he did to like get ready for a pitch. So he was always touching it. So that's so basically fast forward now umpires are like checking throughout the game and so that's why I don't think the no hitter isn't tainted because I was like there's no way this guy first of all an unknown is coming in here throwing strikes and
Yeah.
not getting any hits without having a check. So that's why I'm like
And
I,
sometimes you'll see if you're watching the game, you'll see when the pitcher goes up or leaves, the ump goes in and is like wiping their hands before they go onto the mound or off of the mound. So that's like when they're doing kind of like a random drug test, like at work, but it's like in the middle of a game while they're
so
at work.
what I know we talked about it before but the thing what it does
That's
for
what I was gonna ask you, like,
yeah.
how does this affect like how the ball and
So
someone
with
hits?
the changes of so like in a a fast forward history lesson, the balls have changed over time. Like I think if you were like the laces used to be more prominent to where like a two-seamer fastball is like when a pitcher puts his two fingers on the seams and like
Mm-hmm.
lines them. A four-seamer is when the seams are like this and their fingers are like this. So like the seams have like been a part of like a pitcher's like method of like
Mm-hmm.
how they throw.
Mm-hmm.
And over the years, because people know that baseball can be a slow sport, they were like, well, we need more home runs. Like, do you remember when you were younger and it was like so cool to see a home run?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that? Like, and then now it's like one every
Every.
game and like all this stuff. But like what they've done is they've changed the ball and they've changed other things. They might have changed bats. I don't know. But they've definitely changed the ball that I know a
Mm-hmm.
couple of years ago it was like they basically like shaved, not shaved, but like the seams don't stick out as much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you're
Mm.
thinking these people are throwing this like 98 bat basketball. The sticky stuff helps them have a grip on them. Like so sometimes like you'll see them like molding and like stuff like
Yeah.
that because they're getting it shaped like fitted to their hand and the sticky stuff like helps them like especially um, like I think every pitcher has a different part of them where like I know one pitcher like doesn't like cold games. Like it's really hard to get a grip like when it's icy outside. Like the
Mm-hmm.
earlier season games, especially the ones who play up north, like it's hard to get a grip on it when it's there. Whereas some people don't like it whenever it's hot, like an outdoor game and they're sweaty and it's like I can't grip the ball. So it's kind of been something that pitchers have done with the changes of like how it's become a offense game has made it more difficult for
So they
uh,
can
I think
control the ball a little bit more.
yeah so
Have
like
more
oh because there
control
was
over it.
also this like gosh sorry I could talk about it forever there like I believe 2 seasons ago there were a lot of like batters getting hit
Mm-hmm.
like with the ball and it was kind of like going back to like because they can't grip the ball. Like y'all
So
changed
it's
it for
going a
these
little wild.
pitchers. And then it's also like changing just like the dynamic of like there's also a lot of injuries because of it, because they're having to find a new way to throw. And you think about like your body has done the same motion over and over and now it can't. So like it's a lot has been attached to the changing of I was
Wow.
sorry, it feels really weird to say the changing of the balls, but that's what it
That's
is.
what it is.
So they've changed the balls and that's like caused injuries. That's caused so anyway, so that's why some have been known to have like little sticky
They're
substances.
just trying
They
to
just
help.
be like just a little bit. There's a term for it. I don't know what it's called. But yeah, Blanca got caught with it. But yeah.
And then it just sucks that it's, I guess, considered cheating because it's you can't do that in the game. And Astros have had cheating
Yeah.
in their back. So then it's just like, oh
But
great.
again, a lot of those
Right.
stories that I talked about did not involve an Astro. So
Right. But it
again,
just sucks because
it does
it's
suck
kind of
because it's
like
like,
once a cheater, always a cheater, like a
then it's
guy.
also like we're losing. So like y'all can't really say anything.
Wait, we're cheating, but we're losing. Like that doesn't make sense. We should be winning.
Exactly. That's where it's like, so, but no, but I really am excited. There's just kind of, I feel like there's no like apparent favorite right now. And maybe it's because my Astros are losing, so I don't really know what
The
else, but like I
difference.
don't feel like I'm seeing the same thing
No.
over and over. Like Juan Soto is doing great in New York, but like that's kind of
Didn't he come from San Diego?
yeah,
No. Yeah.
Padres. Mhm.
Yeah.
So
I think we saw when we went to the Padres last summer.
he's having like a really good transition.
And that's big
Bryce
to
Harper's having a good year too.
come from
Um,
San Diego to New York. Well, I guess it hasn't gotten cold in New York yet, but
yeah.
to come from
I,
Cali
I feel
to
like
New
you go to a
York,
beautiful place, yeah. And then not that New York's not beautiful, but yeah,
it's
like
totally
probably polar
different. Yeah.
opposites. And then Bryce Harper's having a really good year. And he's made the switch from right field to first base. So the Phillies had to get rid of
Oh, I didn't
Reese
realize that.
Hoskins, which is who I really liked. So they had to, yeah, because I guess Bryce runs it in Philly. So he wanted to be first base, so they let him be first base. And then I'm trying to think of anything else on the top of my head.
Well, Dodgers are
Um,
doing pretty good.
wait, what?
The Dodgers are doing pretty good.
Well, I don't, you know.
Don't leave them out just because you cheaters are losing. No, I'm
I
just
just like
kidding.
keep up with them. Like that is your job. I talk about mine, and then you do yours. And so I was like,
No,
you weren't saying anything.
the Dodgers are doing good. But I think I saw like this week I haven't been able to like follow a lot of stuff, but something about Show Ohani, I
Oh
can't
yeah.
even say his name. I think he got hurt, not like major, but I
When
need to
is he
follow up
not?
that
Like
up. But
that's what I
yeah,
think
but
off of
he was
it.
at least hitting for us. Like he wasn't pitching yet, but he was at least getting some homers for us and doing well on the on the plate. But they still are doing good and winning some games. And Mookie Betts is just the best. So yeah, I need to start again. I don't really follow unless I'm live. So I need to get to a Dodger game this year.
That'd be fun.
Um, but yeah. But thank you for that. That was interesting because I've always wondered like one, like I see them wiping the pictures, and then I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, how is
It's
the
like you have to
sticky
look at
stuff going
everything. Yeah.
to, yeah, but then like you just explaining it, it's like crazy how there it's not just you going up, like you really have to have skills. And it's not just like, oh, you're going up and hitting a ball
Well,
or
it kind
throwing
of
a
just is
ball.
kind of like,
There's
yeah.
more.
Well, it's kind of just like how the technique and then just kind of the changes
Yeah.
to the games and how it really does affect the
But I
player.
always thought
And
that was,
they'll do it for like more views and kind of like so there was a couple of years ago about like I don't know, there's just like so much behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know. Like you only hear about the big contracts, you don't hear about the other ones. And
yeah,
like they've been like fighting for a lot of changes and Manfred just I think it's Manfred, I could be wrong.
yeah.
Um but yeah, so
But no,
that's
there is a lot more into baseball too. Like there's stuff like in the little league, um, and with African Americans playing baseball and getting that back, like you don't see many of those. But then there's like even the storylines about like, yes, you have to go into the minor leagues, even if you get drafted, like she was just saying about Paul. But then like they don't make money, and so you could, you're not making money like you are if you made it to the pros. And like so when you think someone gets drafted, you're just like, oh, they're rolling in dough and da 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 da. Like, no, like Paul still had to work his butt off to make sure he got called up when there was a
yeah.
chance and to be ready. Like you
Mhm.
don't want someone to get hurt or anything, but it's like you really are waiting for someone to get hurt or
Well,
someone
then
to
that was
move and
another
need to
thing.
sit in. You got to step into their spot.
Yeah, and that's like another there's kind of like been some talks about how so the big or Baltimore Orioles had like the number one prospect for MLB, I think, and he was getting called up. He got the call just like Skeens did, and I think he like didn't deliver. And they're
You got
kind
to
of
be
like looking
ready.
into like the jump from AAA to MLB with the changes and whatnot is the biggest jump of like
Yeah.
but you're seeing so many go back down. Like we had Abreu, who's like a veteran. This probably actually isn't that related, but like you have to get called back down because like just people aren't like performing. And that's like he's a veteran and he had
Mm-hmm.
to get sit back down. So these AAA people are coming up and like they're not being able to perform. That it's like something has to happen to where like you're seeing success for what you're yeah.
Yeah.
You just talk about like that with the NBA and stuff like that, like how you go and how college is kind of like your preparation for it. But
Well, and then the NBA does a little something where you can kind of like that, like you could go back down to the D League team
mm,
of that sport, like at with the Pelicans. Oh, what is his name? The light skinned guy. I can't think of his name right now. It's not coming to me. A couple of those guys though, like you would see them in season playing, and then all of a sudden they weren't, like DeAndre Jordan, Hawkins
Mhm.
or Jordan Hawkins. I cannot
Jennifer,
recall.
isn't that
Dan, I can't recall names right now, but Hawkins is his last name, Angel Reese's cousin.
oh
But
yeah,
like he would be on the roster, he'd be in a game, and then we wouldn't see him because he went back down to the D League. But then he would get called up. And then for the playoffs, once you're on that roster, you have to be on the roster before the playoffs start, and then you're on it for the
yeah,
remaining of the run. But if you're not on it, like you can't get called up. Like
yeah.
you can't come in and play during the
And like
playoffs
you've been
time.
seeing like a lot of like I've been getting a lot of ESPN alerts with baseball of like they're calling up so and so, they're calling up so and
Mm-hmm.
so, like kind of it's definitely a time to keep up with it. I know it's very
Yeah.
hard to keep up with it, but there's I'm sure we'll have more to talk about later this year with the developments of everything. But now you have a history lesson on sticky stuff.
It really is interesting though. I mean, it can be boring watching on TV at times, but it really is interesting how it all works. Um,
NFL.
but yeah, before we get out of here, NFL, it's coming back because we just got the schedules for the year. Some people kind of leaked theirs, I think, but like the Saints
Theirs
released
has
theirs.
been this social media
It's
of
a whole thing on
releasing it
social
now.
media.
I am like, this is intense. Like there's
No,
so many
it's a whole
videos,
thing.
like I mean, as a someone who works in marketing, so I'm just like thinking about what all these teams have had to do in the last week to like produce reels and do
But they
these
did that for the
films and
NBA
stuff
too.
like
Like
that.
it's a
Yeah.
thing now to our schedule is out.
Yeah.
So,
Like a release, it was like a countdown or something. I was like, y'all are insane.
right, just to say who we're playing.
Yeah. Like I can
Um,
like Google. Like,
yeah.
calm down.
But yeah, it was a big talk up today. The schedules were released. So if you have a favorite team, you can see who's playing at home, who you're gonna play, who you're gonna play on the road, when you're gonna have a bye week. The team that, we're always watching, well, I'm always watching, the Saints, and Denver's coming to New Orleans. So that is a big topic because Sean Payton, who is the head coach, if y'all remember, is the head coach of Denver. He had retired from the Saints, said he wasn't going to coach anymore, and then was like, "Oh, I want to coach again," and then went to Denver. So, and he got rid of Russell Wilson,
Thank
or
God.
yeah, Russell went. Yeah, he pretty much got rid of him,
You
but
to
Russell went
Pittsburgh.
up. Yeah. But yeah, this will be his first time back in New Orleans. So it's going to be interesting to see how the crowd reacts. Because I don't think we like him anymore.
I think, I feel like we're not Louisiana teams are just not the ones to do things that we keep the receipts and we never forget. We never
There is voodoo
forget.
in New Orleans. So
That's how I feel. That's how I'm like, this is very yes.
yes. So that's pretty exciting for us here just to see him come back. I'm excited for this calendar because the Rams come, so an LA team, and the Raiders come to
Oh
to New
yeah.
Orleans. So I have an opportunity
Sorry.
to
I'm
see
in late.
them,
But there's also, I
and
know
the Eagles.
Aaron's probably not bringing this up, but there's also some NFL news today that a Kansas City
Oh, yes.
player
I forgot about that. Went to the schedule.
and
Yes.
that I was like, yeah, she's just building anticipation because
Yeah.
I texted Arian today and I was like, look, I know we like to keep it light
We don't,
and
yeah.
fun, but I think we need to talk about this.
But I
And
think it is important after I read it because
yes.
again, like the last 2 days have been busy at work, so I haven't been like paying attention. And when
Well,
you
like I
said
think
that,
what
I was
was
like,
crazy
"What?"
that it was like again, like I didn't have any alerts or anything. I just checked the phone. I checked my phone today and I was
It's
like,
probably because he's a kicker and
what?
no one's
And that
like
well, that's kind of been the whole joke. So for those of you, if you haven't been following, and I want to like preface this with that a woman is allowed to do whatever she wants to do. I am big into that. Um,
It's two women that love sports, and so we
yeah,
wanna talk about it, and that's, like, unheard. That's why we, like, love the women that are on TV doing it in a man's
that's
world.
or if like if you just stay at home and take care of your kids and you watch sport, like you're that's great. I'm not. This is not about. We have done nothing wrong in this. But a man by the name of God, what Harrison Buckler,
Yeah, and he
who
plays for the team we don't
plays
like.
for the Chiefs, exact right. Like this is where it's like y'all are just giving me more ammo to not hear you. He was at a college this past weekend to give a commencement speech, and it was a Catholic college. I think he is very big in the Catholicism movement,
He's
and
definitely old
he
school because 'cause I'm Catholic, and he's very old, old school Catholic.
decided to say some things in his speech that um kind of called out women. Well, basically there was some hate against LGBTQ and the COVID-19. Like it got very political when I don't know about you, but like I don't remember commencement speeches getting political. Like I remember mine and it was about a book called The Last Lecture, which was
No,
one of my
it's
favorite books.
supposed to be inspiration.
You're also like a kicker. Like calm down. Like you're nothing against I don't want anyone to like come for athletes or come for professions, but
That's where we don't see you often.
you're a kicker. And I
Well,
probably
I guess
didn't
for
know
the
your name.
Chiefs, we saw him more, but we didn't know his name because they
Exactly.
do score.
So part of me is like, is this how we all like get to know who you are now? But he made a comment. Whoop, that's sorry, I'm trying to find it. That he let's see, I want some quotes that he basically was telling women that their lives. So take in mind, I just want everyone to close their eyes and just sit there and act like they are about to graduate after spending 4 or more years working your butt off to
Especially if you're a
get
woman.
this because you're a grown woman, you're at least 21, and this man comes to tell you that's like, hey, you're probably really excited about promotions and jobs, but I also want to bet that a lot of you are really excited to get married and have children. And then he proceeds to tell everyone that his wife's life
Our vocations.
began
Our
when
vocation.
she yes, her vocation everything began when she became his wife. And I don't want to sound like this bitter woman, but I like again, like I just can't get over the audacity that this man goes on this platform and he just like I just think and again I came from his mom was a working woman. Like I think with a lot of stuff has come out that like his mom is like super smart, like really like chemistry or physics, some kind of science. And he has come out. I think he also quoted some Taylor Swift, but
Yeah, he
he
tried to throw in. Oh, well, she said that he didn't say Taylor Swift, but
he said
he used
my teammate's girlfriend
and then
and
quoted
like
from her.
kind of which is funny because Taylor has been a big advocate for feminism of just
But then I
how
feel like that was an attention grabber too, because don't try to use Taylor's name,
yeah.
or he didn't use her name, but you know,
Used her
in a
lyric,
sense,
which
yeah,
everyone
like you
used, and
knew
so he
and you
kinda almost
said,
downplayed Taylor. So anyway, like, I've been really careful about what I put out there because again, I have friends who stay at home, and I have friends who are doctors, and I have friends on all spectrum, and
right.
again, I just really can't believe that this guy went out there and
Well, yeah,
did this.
like you said, to go in so much on the political side for Catholics are, I mean, maybe the school is like, hey, we are old school, but
I
you
think they are old
have
school. I think that there's like no like they can't sunbathe in bathing suits, I think was like a rule. Like I think it's a very strict
school.
school.
But
But
still, I feel like your like it also said in there that the Chiefs have several women executive vice presidents who work there. So you, in a sense, work for them, although like we treat the athletes more, but you
But I
have
think
people
they
that you
forget
are
that you
talking
represent that
to.
brand. You represent that
Right.
brand. Like
Right.
I like represent where I work. So if I went on this whole thing, like I don't know, I'm very curious. I was talking to
And
someone today
then
to see
and
if there
then
was going to be
him,
repercussions,
yeah, and then
and
him
I
talking about um the LGBTQ, I'm gonna mess those letters up, I'm sorry.
yeah.
But talking about that community, the way that he did, and in the article that I read was saying that they have a very big LGBTQ
In Kansas City.
community in Kansas City. So that means a lot of your fan bases are a part of that community and have been supporting you and cheering for you over these last Super Bowl wins. And you just basically said that they were a sin, pretty much is what he said. You know what I mean? And it's okay to have your own opinions, but to voice that in this kind of setting where you know that it's going to come out public, I just don't agree with that. And
Just
the
yeah.
same about the women, like even if that's great for your wife. And people joke here in Louisiana because they say a lot of girls go to LSU because to find their husbands, and that's okay. They got their education. But if their goal was to find a husband and that's what they want to do, like you said, you have friends that do that, you want to be the stay-at-home mom because that's a job. You're taking
Yeah.
care of the household, you're raising your children. If that's what you want to do, is fine. But don't say that that's what women's jobs are, because that friend of yours that is a stay-at-home mom, if she wakes up tomorrow and says, well, I want to be a career woman, she should be able to.
Yeah.
Like, because we have that choice to be what we want to be, and not our role in society is not strictly to be the homemaker. And then he was like, men need to own their masculinity, and you
Yeah, it
can
was
be
like
in the
this
kitchen if you
whole
want,
like
but
really weird like
it's
and
like,
again,
I know who
internet's a
you
lovely
voted
place
for.
because so many people have done like different like spoofs on it that like I like there was one there's a girl and I love her and I can't think of her name right now, but she was like, "Hey guys, like I saw this like video of like this guy who's like a kicker for NFL and like I just really hope people like this opens the conversations of like injuries related to football because how many times do you have to get hit to think that you're living in 1820?" Like it was just so funny that of like
But he didn't
I
even get
think
hit
well,
that
I
much.
thought it's such an interesting echo of and he's not my favorite person, but Patrick Mahomes had just recently won one of like the Times People of the Year or like he won some award and he used his speech to say this is a time like I'm so excited that like women's sports are finally getting the recognition that they
He
deserve like
better. He
these
owns
women
a women's
athletes
soccer
and stuff.
team.
Yeah, well he owns a team too or part owner, but like he brought it up that like to have one this space of this franchise saying like look at these women and look what they've been doing for this and then days later you have this guy who honestly no one knew before like I know sports the
You don't know
Chiefs
the
win I don't know who your kicker is
like,
like
I'll know my kicker off of my team,
absolutely
but we don't know
I
you like
haven't
we
remembered
know
a kicker
Patrick
since
or
like
Travis.
yeah like yeah and so I think that to have this. Like, I'm very curious to see how Kansas City is like the Chiefs are going to react.
And they haven't yet.
They
A
haven't
a
yet, and I think
former
that that's
commissioner did though.
really
Or not, is he a commissioner? Like a former person that was like, I can't, yeah, commissioner or Kansas City commissioner. So not for the team. But a former Kansas City commissioner said that he doesn't represent
oh, I
Kansas
saw that.
City,
We never
and
did.
he doesn't but he never has, pretty much.
Yeah. So I think that, and again, like both Aaron and I work in comms and PR, so this always is really interesting to us to see how are they going to run with this. I'm curious to see if Travis Kelsey is going to say anything.
I
Um,
feel like someone has to, whether it's Patrick, or but it really should come from the team.
I just think it should come for the team, but I
Um,
also feel like I feel like this is like, I know that these people live a whole different life than me, but I am just like, he also brought Kelsey into it by bringing up Taylor.
yeah, so he
You know what I mean?
should,
That, like,
yeah.
I would be pissed. And I know guys don't get upset about things that we do, but like, if my teammate, my coworker brought up my significant other, who is a very prominent figure, and like, it'd be like,
Well, because I
you don't
don't
need to do
I
that.
don't know
Like,
the lyrics, but in what he said, you could have been twisting her words too, like her song. You know what I mean? Like you're saying that this is what she meant
yeah.
without asking her. You're taking lyrics that
To go
none of
something
us really
to
know. And
also
so
speak about something that Taylor has been on the record very against. Like, she kind of even talks about how, like, everyone, like, her expectations of how, like, she feels like the world has, like, said that she's just going to be a housewife, or or a wife, like, how it's just like, well, who's she gonna marry? Who's she gonna marry? And she's like, well, what if
like
I went
why
to
does it,
go tour? Like, what if I
yeah,
wanted to do all this stuff? So, like, I think if she didn't
why do
have
we
the
have to
history
get
that she
married?
had, like, to be like, hey, I'm gonna do both, or I'm gonna like dump. And so to have this guy, I don't know.
But why are
Again,
you
I
even
was just,
saying anybody else's name if they haven't
but I
vocally
think he
spoke
doesn't
about
take,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
Like you shouldn't
I feel
mention
bad for this
anyone.
man's wife. I feel like, and I think,
She
like, I
clearly didn't read that
personally am
speech.
like, I feel it's almost, and I know, like, not to go on this deep, like, where the society is right now, but like, I feel like, especially because Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelsey, the Chiefs have been associated with like women coming into this environment, like, to be very women forward and to be
Maybe that's
like,
why he did it.
but like, I think to have this person do like, I don't like, I don't think that maybe I just have history of dating people like this. I don't know. I don't think, like, I think it's going to be very difficult for the Chiefs to keep this on their side.
Well, and that's one thing where I think even if they didn't have the Swifties on their side and gained women supporters, they would have to say something because you have women executives, one, working in the office. So what are you saying? You know what I mean? Like you're allowing this man to say that. So obviously he disrespects them. Maybe he doesn't do it in their face, but deep down he disrespects them that they're not at home with their kids and being a housewife. Like that's how I would take it if I worked there.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so you're not respecting me if I'm asking you to do something on
Yeah.
my level. Um, but I forgot where I was going with after that, but
But I
oh,
think,
they're gonna have to say something too
yeah.
because you have all of these women followers that
Like,
have
that's how I feel like
joined.
they brought, like,
You
it
have
wasn't
to.
like, I think that, like, that also, I mean, I know super weird people are going to tie it to the Taylor Swift effect, but it's like, you can't be in it just when it's serving you. Like, you can't just be
Yeah.
like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, you
But if
need to
you want to
also,
keep this fan base too, and that should be
yeah,
the goal too, because if Taylor and and Travis break up as a company, you would want to keep those customers.
yes.
Like you're trying to attract them on more than just Taylor
And
now
like,
that they've
honestly, not
come.
even just women, but like you said, if Kansas City has a prominent LGBTQ
That
community,
have
like,
been
I just
cheering
think
for
the fact
you.
that they haven't said anything to be like, this is not like, we are aware
I'd
of
be
that
interested to
they do
see if
not
he's
reflect our views, like, blah blah blah. But like, I also think, and this sounds so dramatic out loud, but I think that, like, something has to be done. Like, and I know that it's 10:23, and I know it's too late to have conversations, but, like, if things are done to Colin, if things were done to Tim Tebow, like, if things were done, something like,
back then when things were just getting started with people speaking out. It's
yeah,
even 10 times worse now to where people rally behind.
yeah,
And again, you have that women base. You have those supporters that are part of the LGBTQ
yeah.
community that have been supporting you before he even opened his mouth. And so if you're not going to stand up for it, I'm gonna
Like,
leave as
people
a
are gonna take
fan.
their money, if you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if he's there,
And, like, unfortunately,
like if he's gonna get removed, if there's another kicker coming up. So if there is a backup kicker, you better be getting prepared.
that's what I think. I was like, "You got."
Get with Paul schemes to like, how did you prepare yourself for when you were called up? But also, or he's going to have to um issue an apology. There, I can't think of like right now who, but I know there have been athletes that have said what they wanted and had to come out and issue an apology, whether they believed it or not, because the team. So I feel like he's gonna have to either come with an apology in the next couple of days where it's gonna be written, like, we've seen Stephen A. Smith have had to do that, and someone else off of ESPN, like, when they say something on air bad, then
Like,
they
I
have to
think
come
I'm
in and
very curious to
apologize.
see because it got so politically involved as
And
well.
we know who was kind of running. You can tell who he votes for
Yeah, like,
by
so
his
partly again
comments,
because it's an election year,
and
like,
that person had a
there's some
who yep,
political drive to it that I'm like,
and that was the person that got
and this
Colin.
is and this is kind of like, and I know that we didn't intend on this conversation to go this way, but it's like, you have to remember that that is your team. Like, because I don't think it's like a shut up and dribble situation like with LeBron. Like, they were bringing attention to things that needed to be done. Like, like, I don't want it
Well,
to
I
seem like
don't
I'm
think
taking
no
and cheap.
athlete should just shut up and do their
Exactly. But like
sport,
this
because you should
person
have a
was
platform.
literally like condemning people for their life's choices. Like, do you know, like,
Yeah, you went after communities. Like LeBron is like, I need you to treat this community equal
yes. Like, he
to
was for
everyone else.
equity, whereas this guy
Yeah,
is like, stay at home. And like,
right.
yeah. So I
You
think
ladies
like
get
that's
out the
what I didn't want
street.
people to think that like I'm picking and choosing because I'm like, no, I think that there are causes and I think that there's intention. I think, when LeBron had like, I'm not just like, these are like important issues, we need to talk about them, like that was good intention of like bring attention to this, whereas this guy is like, you need to live like my life, you need to live, everyone should live like me or else like blah blah blah. So like I think that's where that comes up in different, where again, like, yes, use your platform to bring attention to things and whatnot, but like, you don't need to tell people that they shouldn't be working, you don't need to be telling
We
people
have too many
like,
religions for you to
yeah,
say, like, this is what God is telling you. Like, one, I feel like we shouldn't be trying to change people's
no,
beliefs in that. And I think as God's follow, I know we've gotten
yeah,
into God, into religion, but both me and you are very
yeah,
religious.
yeah.
But I feel like as if you're supposed to be disciples of God and spread the word, like you spread it to what you know and let people like, let me go read about that or let me decipher, but not like you
Like, you're
must,
not gonna change the
yeah, you
world
must believe
telling
God
people
the
that
way
you
I
have to
do.
live like this. Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
go have your relationship with God or your higher being
Yeah.
and do it, but we all respect each other. That's the one thing is like respect. Like you
And I
listen to
feel like
me and
he
I
was
listen to you.
condemning, like, it was a very big
Yeah.
pastor on the pulpit kind of situation where so we could talk about this all night, but I think I'm very curious to see how Kansas City
Yeah.
approaches it and who all is going to speak up and what is done, because I do not see how you keep this person on your team or in a starting
Saying sorry.
position kind of situation. Like,
And I think that the team has to say it and not like a player and not even like Travis. Like Travis could have a one-on-one with him for using Taylor's,
I think if
but
he,
it's
I think
still
the best
locker
way for
room. It's
Travis
still
to do
locker room
something,
though. So you
I think
can't,
Travis should say something in his podcast, but that's just me. I feel like he should, that's how
not
the
without talking to him first and the
yeah.
team, only because
He shouldn't be the
I
first
think
person to say something, but I do
not,
think
but not out in the open. I think
I
people
think
deserve to have that one-on-one if they're teammates and if you guys are any kind of close as a teammate. Like you don't have to be best friends. Like you guys may not be Travis and Patrick, but I feel like being on a team or anyone, you owe that one-on-one and not just calling out like through your platform of media without having that conversation. Um, but I also don't think I think that they
part of me
shouldn't.
wonders, did he call up Travis to be like, can I use Taylor's quote in
No.
my piece?
But to but I guess to be fair to him and I guess within law or whatever. Like he didn't say Taylor's name, he didn't say Travis.
He
So
just
like,
quoted her.
huh?
He quoted her.
Well, he quoted a song. He was like my
As she
friend, my
wrote.
playmate,
As she wrote. Her
my
words, Aaron.
but
It
he
was her
never
word.
but I'm just playing devil's advocate. Like he never said Travis, he never said Taylor, so he could be like,
He
"Oh,
could.
I never said that," but we all know who he's talking about. But I still think like if he's not going to get kicked off the team, you can't mess up the energy in the locker room, because if he's going to still play one fan wise, I would like to see that because I don't want them to win. So I would love for him to miss because he's mad or
He's a
something like
kicker.
that.
He's
But
a kicker. Like, I feel like if there's any person on your team that is replaceable, it's your kicker. I'm sorry.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm sure you guys have some backups that are just as good, or you can start working
You
them
think
out
they're
now.
like, this is my moment. This
Yeah, that's what I said. Y'all better start getting prepared to step in and not miss a kick. They
So
will
yeah,
get
we'll
you.
probably be unfolding that in the next couple of days. But I told Aaron, I was like, we cannot have this podcast and not talk
Well, and I
about
think
he's
it's
been blowing
important.
up my phone all day.
Yeah, and I think it's important to talk about that because this is a space for women, and we want our community to be women of all backgrounds.
Feeling
Whether you
empowered to
stay
do
at
whatever
home,
that they want to do, but not because
right?
someone told them they should do it.
And you have the choice to switch up. If I want to be a housewife today, and then I want to go be a career woman
Exactly.
in a month, I can do that. And then I can go back to being a
Yeah.
housewife if I want.
Yeah.
Because it's all work to me. Like it's
Mhm.
just different work, but they work just as hard.
But
And I
I'm
know
not implying that someone's not really living because they aren't doing the other thing. And that's what
no,
it's yeah.
no, and that's what he was saying. And I wonder if his wife really feels like that, or if she's just
That's what
submissive.
my coworker
And
today was joking. She was like, the wife's name is Isabel. And she wanted to be like, Isabel, blink twice. Blink twice. Like, does someone need to go home? Like, you good? You good?
yeah, did you really say that you are more happy? And I think he could have twisted that, because some women say like you come into your own when you do have kids, or when you're, it's like a different level of yourself, but that doesn't mean you have to lose
Yeah.
your, like, yes, you are more fulfilled. And some people, and like, oh, my life wasn't complete until I had my child or I had my family, but that doesn't mean that this is my only vocation and
Yeah.
life didn't start until I had
Exactly.
these. So
Yeah. We could talk about it all night.
we'll see. Yeah, we'll see if they come out, because it will need to be in the next couple of days. You can't wait too long when you have situations like this. You can't
Yeah.
keep telling the media, no comment. So we'll see. We'll have to pay attention
We
to
do have quick
their
news.
their stuff too.
Sorry, I forgot to talk about this. Um, there's a big major coming up this week for golf. And Scotty Scheffler, who won the Masters, who's like number one right now in the world, he took off last week or 2 weeks ago. There was something that Rory McIlroy met, like finally won. Um, but Scotty's wife Meredith had a baby, so he is back for I think it's the PGA tournament this weekend. So if you're into golf like me, that is a major to come up and watch this week to see, because there's a lot going on with this one. Because if Rory McIlroy wins, it's his fifth major, and that's like a big thing to have. And like the majors include like the US Open, the Masters, PGA, and there's another one I can't remember. But like he has collected them over the years. So like if he gets this one, big deal for him to get five. Brooks Koepka, who went over to Live Golf, we've been talking about that in the past. He won last year, and it was a big deal that a Live golfer won the PGA tournament. So is he going to have a repeat? Jordan Spieth, this is the one major that he doesn't have. He has the other three, and they're wondering if he's going to be able to get it this year. And then there's Scotty, who's just winning everything. Is
And
he
that
going to
was
get
the
it too?
one that just became a pro. Like, is that Scotty who won and he wasn't a pro for very long, or he?
I don't know. He's been
I
like
think the
fascinating to watch. Like
yeah, he won
fascinating to watch.
the
That
master, and he was it the Masters?
He won the Masters 2 years ago.
Yeah, and he was on the news and stuff. Like he was like, I think that's the Scotty one. I can't.
But again, he's like fairly, I don't want to say fairly new. I mean, he's still in his 20s, but like I am telling
Oh, maybe
you,
that's not the one then.
he, I can't. And normally I would hate the number one. Like y'all know I have a history of like not liking the like best in the league. But like watching, and maybe it's because like just my fascination with the sport of golf, like watching Scotty Scheffler play golf is fascinating. How he can hit things like he's not the best putter, but like he can chip it in and like make an ace or like a birdie and all these things. It's just fascinating. So that's a really big one coming up this year. I mean, this weekend with lots of good storylines that who's it gonna be? Or is it gonna be like somebody who we don't even know? So
That would be, I love that. An underdog or a stranger in the night that just comes in, you're like, woo.
stranger
And then they
than
have a good storyline with it. Like, ooh.
and
I
then there's all this drama about like who. So when you play golf, you get paired up with someone.
mhm,
Like you have like two people playing with you. Like you're obviously individual score, but like you're paired with someone as you
to
do the
go to
course.
each holes.
And
Yeah.
they've been like pairing up some like really juicy people together. So it's been really funny.
Ooh, drama on the court. See, they're trying to get a storyline in the PGA too, in the golf
There's
world,
drama
because
everywhere, guys. Drama everywhere.
yeah, you just gotta look for it. I have more respect. I went to Top Golf like last month, and I have more respect for you because I know you play. I mean, I have respect for you, but like as a golfer, you
That's a golfer.
and golfers, because that is hard trying to get in those little things. And I'm like, and then swinging and you miss it, and you just feel so dumb when you miss the thing. And I'm
I still
like,
miss it every now and then.
they make it look so easy. But if you haven't been to Top Golf, definitely go and try and
I
swing
went
that ball.
recently
It's
for
fun.
my cousin's birthday, and she was like, "Don't tell anyone that you golf." And I was like, "Okay." And everyone's like talking about it and stuff like that. And I'm like, "Mhm." And then
Like, how do
everyone's
I
like
be
hitting,
quiet?
and I'm like, "Okay." And then all of a sudden, I hit it. And this one girl like whips her head, and she goes, "Oh my God, you play!"
Yeah, because how do you not have
And
your
I was
stance
like,
that you learn? Like, do you have to like
and I
dummy
was
that
like,
down?
I was like, Amelia told me not to tell y'all. And they were like, oh my gosh, she's gonna win. And I was on this team with like a bunch of like husbands of her friends. And they're like, they have the power to like hit it to the fence and stuff. But like, I have the consistency to like, I was hitting in the green over and over. Like, definitely my dollars paid off with my instructor because it's like obviously working and I can have the most consistent shot every time. One guy was like, you're definitely the most consistent here.
I was
Like
about to
you have a
say you
score every time.
and you would have to like lose your stance and stuff because like if you follow Meredith on social media and she shows when she goes to her golf, like you have a great stance and like the leg. Like when I went to Top Golf, I was like, let me remember how Meredith's leg was and how she twisted, and like you're supposed to like hold it. Like I literally was doing that. So it's like you would have had to like tone all that down to be
And
like,
I was like,
you
I
know,
don't
you
know
don't know
how
what you're
not to. Like
doing.
I was like, and so I'm just like,
Yeah. So if you want to get a little refresher course or like cheat sheet before you go to
oh
Top
yeah,
Golf, just
give
follow Meredith and just
me a
watch
follow. I
her
have a whole
practices.
golf reel. I have a whole golf like highlights. So give me a
I literally was doing that. I was like, okay, my leg should do this, and then if you like you got to twist, I'm like, what would Meredith do? Or how does she stand?
give me a
But
call.
no, we've talked about that. We'll have to do that as an event where we go either to Top Golf, well, that should be one, but going actually on the course and doing some lessons. I think
Yeah.
that would be fun. Whether you're into it or not, you don't have to keep doing it, but just to try it out. And it's a
Mhm.
workout. You get a
Great
workout,
one.
walking and
Love it. And
all
good
that.
storylines like this
But yeah.
weekend. So always
Yep.
something. Okay.
But yes, but thank you for joining and chatting. We are a little late recording as far as like late in the evening, but we wanted to get it done and um, talk about some of the exciting stuff that is happening. And our NFL's coming back, WNBA is going, NBA is wrapping up, but it's exciting for Meredith on that end with the NBA because
Now.
I'm
For
done.
now.
Yeah, for
If
now.
either of these teams go,
So
and you're like, who?
you're right. So we might be done with that. And MLB is going. So great stuff coming up for the rest of the spring and the summer. So thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you next week, and be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, but also subscribe to our newsletter. You can find that within our Instagram, sports and mimosa, sports underscore and underscore mimosas. We have our sports brunch coming up on June 8th. So we hope that you, if you are in the Baton Rouge area, can join us for that event. But until next time, be sure to watch some sports.
Yep.
Bye.